Here's a number that confuses a lot of people. Someone retires with $1 million, starts withdrawing money every single year to live on, and somehow 20 or 30 years later ends up with more than they started with. Not less, more. Sometimes a lot more. It sounds like a typo. It's not. It's just math that most people have never actually seen laid out. Let's actually walk through how this works, because once you see the mechanism, it stops feeling like magic and starts feeling like something you can plan around. The first piece, withdrawal rate versus growth rate. The number most retirement planning is built around is the 4% rule. The idea is that you withdraw 4% of your portfolio in year one, then adjust that amount for inflation every year after. And the math says your money should last roughly 30 years without running out. This isn't some random guess. It comes from research going back to the 1990s that stress-tested withdrawal rates against nearly a century of real market data, including the Great Depression. More recent research has actually revised the safe number slightly, suggesting something closer to 3.9% for new retirees today, partly because people are living longer and need their money to stretch further. So the safe number isn't fixed in stone, but it's been tested hard. Here's the part that matters for the $5 million question. 4% is the amount you're taking out. It is not the amount your money is making. If your portfolio is invested in a typical stock-heavy mix, the long-term historical average return of the stock market sits somewhere around 10% a year before inflation, or roughly 7% after adjusting for inflation. That gap between what you're withdrawing and what your money is earning is the entire engine behind this. If you take out 4 and your money grows by 7 on average, you are still growing your balance most years even while spending from it. The second piece, compounding doesn't pause because you're retired. This is the part people miss. A lot of people picture retirement as the moment the growth stops and the spending starts. That's not how it actually works if your money stays invested. Compounding keeps running in the background every single year on whatever balance remains after your withdrawal. So if you start with $1 million, pull out $40,000, and the remaining $960,000 grows at an average of 7% that year, you've replaced more than what you took out. Do that consistently over 20 or 30 years, and the balance doesn't just survive, it can climb substantially, especially in years where the market does better than average, which historically it does more often than people expect. The third piece, sequence matters more than average. Now, before this starts sounding like a guarantee, I need to be honest about the part that actually breaks this math for some retirees. It's not really about the average return over 30 years, it's about the order those returns show up in, something researchers call sequence of returns risk. If the market drops hard in your first few years of retirement while you're also withdrawing money, that combination does real damage that a strong average years later can't fully undo. Two retirees with identical average returns over 30 years can end up in completely different places depending on whether the bad years hit early or late. This is exactly why some retirees who follow the math perfectly still see lean years, and why advisors increasingly recommend flexible withdrawal strategies instead of a rigid fixed percentage, adjusting spending up in strong years and pulling back slightly in rough ones. The fourth piece, most retirees don't actually spend on schedule. Here's something that shows up constantly in retirement research and rarely gets talked about. People tend to be far more cautious with their spending than the math says they need to be. Plenty of retirees withdraw less than their plan allows, especially early on, either out of habit, caution, or just not wanting to watch the number go down. Financial advisors regularly see clients who 3 to 5 years into retirement somehow have more money than when they started, purely because they underspent relative to what their portfolio could have supported. That caution, combined with market growth, is a major reason those $1 million become $5 million stories exist. It's not one secret formula. It's modest spending plus consistent growth plus time stacked on top of each other for decades. Putting the actual math together. So picture this concretely. $1 million growing at a long-run historical average in the high single digits after inflation, with a retiree withdrawing somewhere around 4% and adjusting modestly, not aggressively, for inflation each year. Run that out over 25 to 30 years, and the ending balance, especially in a market environment with several strong decades mixed in, can land multiples higher than the starting point. This isn't a prediction for any specific person, since markets don't move in straight lines and nobody gets the textbook average every single year. It's simply what's mathematically possible when withdrawal stays modest and growth compounds for long enough, which is a very different statement than "this will definitely happen to you." The takeaway isn't that retirement is some guaranteed money machine. Markets have bad decades, inflation spikes, health costs show up unannounced. The takeaway is narrower and more useful than that. The reason some retirees end up wealthier than when they started isn't luck or a secret account nobody told you about. It's the simple, somewhat boring reality that a withdrawal rate below your growth rate, sustained over enough years, tends to grow rather than shrink, especially when paired with retirees being naturally more conservative with their spending than they technically need to be. This isn't financial advice, just an explanation of how the underlying math tends to work. Everyone's situation, risk tolerance, and time horizon is different, so it's worth running your own numbers with an actual financial advisor before assuming any of this applies directly to you. All right, that's all for now. Take care, guys. See you next time.